Hi, in today's class, we are going to discuss about a very important accounting term, that is accounting equation. But before knowing that, we should understand the double entry system of accounting, because the accounting equation completely relies on the double entry system of accounting. Right? See, every business organization has to record all the transactions of financial nature. That is, all the transactions which have monetary value involved will be recorded in the books of the accounts. Right? So the double entry system of accounting says that every business transaction is going to impact at least two accounts. Don't misconceptualize it as the double entry system of the accounting says that every transaction will be recording twice. No, it's not like that. The double entry system of the accounting says that every business transaction is going to impact at least two accounts, right? And that too in the opposite directions. If one account is going to be debited, the other will be credited, right? This is what the double entry system of the accounting says. Is it clear? Now the accounting equation, it completely relies on this double entry system of the accounting, and it summarizes the double entry system of the accounting by saying that the total of the assets of the organization at any point of time is going to be equal to the total of the liabilities and equity. If you are going to pick up the financial statements of any organization at any point of time, you will be finding that the total of their assets is going to be equal to the total of their liabilities and equity. And this is nothing but the two sides of the balance sheet, and that is why the accounting equation is also said to be as the balance sheet equation, right? Because these are the two sides of the balance sheet. One side is the total of the assets and the other side is the total of the equity and liabilities, right? So because these two are the sides of the balance sheet only, we also say that accounting equation is also known as the balance sheet equation, right? So now let's understand this with the help of an example. You will have a more clarity. But before doing that, let me tell you something about these terms, that what does the assets, liability and equity means. See, assets is nothing but the values that are owned by the business, the things that are owned by the business, that are in the possession of the business, right? And what are the liabilities? Liabilities are the claim of the creditors over those assets, right? And what are the equity? Equity is the claim of the owners over the remaining assets, right? If the organization is having, suppose, assets worth rupees 5 lakh, right? So over those assets, firstly there will be the right of the creditors, right? The claim of the creditors will always go first over those assets, and when the claim of the creditors have been settled down, then the claim of the owners will arise, right? So that is nothing but equity. Okay, so the assets are the possession of the organization, and the liability is the creditors claim over those assets, and then will come the turn of the owners, and that is known as equity, which is the owners claim over the remaining value of the assets, right? Now let's take an example. Suppose that the total assets of the organization are suppose 2,50,000. So this left hand side, that the total of the assets, is always going to be equal to the right hand side, that is the total of the liabilities and equity. So if suppose that the liabilities are 50,000, then for sure the value of the equity is going to be equal to 2 lakh, because we have to equate both the sides, left hand side and the right hand side, right? So you can see that we are able to balance the accounting equation, right? You will be finding that at every point of time the accounting equation is being balanced. Suppose now a transaction takes place, right? Suppose that you bought a furniture, you bought some furniture for the organization worth rupees 1 lakh, right? So now what is going to happen is that is going to now accounting transaction is taking place, so it is going to impact some account, right? So suppose that you bought the furniture for rupees 1 lakh but on credit terms, right? You didn't make the payment for it, right? So that will give rise to your creditors. So now when you are purchasing the assets, when you are purchasing the furniture, the left hand side is going to increase by 1 lakh. Earlier your assets was 2,50,000. Now you have purchased the furniture, so your the total of the assets is going to be, sorry, give me a minute. Yeah, so the total of assets is now going to be 3,50,000, right? And at the same time, now you have given rise to your liabilities because you have not made the payment. You have not made the payment in cash. So now your liabilities will also be 1,50,000. Earlier this was 50,000, right? So now the liability is also going to be 1,50,000, and there is going to be no impact on your equity, right? So the equity was 2 lakh, it's going to be 2 lakh only, right? See, so again, after this accounting transaction, the both sides of the accounting equation is equal, right? The left hand side is equal to the right hand side. The total of the liabilities and equity is also equal to the total of the assets even after the business transaction, right? So this is what the accounting equation says. The accounting equation is now clarifying you that the two accounts are being impacted, right? The one is your furniture, or you can say your assets, and the other one is the liabilities. So both are being impacted, but after the impact has been taking place, the accounting equation is still balanced. It was balanced before the transaction, now it is still balanced also after the accounting transaction has taken place. Now a question may be rising in your mind that what happens if you are purchasing the furniture on cash basis, right? So suppose now I'm purchasing the furniture on cash basis, again worth rupees 1 lakh only. So earlier my assets were 2,50,000, right? So now you are purchasing the furniture for cash. So at the same time you are increasing your one asset, and at the same time you are decreasing your another asset, that is cash. So one asset is being increased, that is your furniture is being increased, but at the same time you are decreasing your cash, which is your another asset, right? So earlier, because your total of the assets was 2 lakh, right? So you increased your furniture, which is 1 lakh, but at the same time you made the payment in the cash, right? So the furniture has increased by 1 lakh, but at the same time the cash has decreased by 1 lakh, right? So the total of the assets is going to be nothing but the same, right? So the total of the assets is going to be again 2 lakh, and there is going to be no impact on your right hand side, that is the liabilities and equity. It is going to be the same, right? See, so again, after this business transaction, you are finding the accounting equation equal. You are finding the total of the assets and the total of the liabilities and equity equal. And that is why it is only because of this accounting equation that you will be finding the both sides of the balance sheet, which is the financial statement, which is the final account of an organization. So the both side of this balance sheet is also equal at all the times, right? I hope this concept is clear to you. In the next class, we will be discussing about the accounting equation in very detail with the help of the practical illustration. Okay, till then, take care, and I hope you will like this video. Thank you.